Clowns have always had a bad reputation. They're in horror films like Stephen King's It, and villains in comic books like the Joker in Batman. There was even a real life killer clown, John Wayne Gacy, and that killer clown craze happened in 2016. There's also a phobia of clowns. It's got a name, chlorophobia, whatever it's called. This account isn't so much scary, it's more weird. I heard it a couple of weeks ago on a TikTok channel, Real Life Ghost Stories Pod. Check out the channel on TikTok, it's awesome. I was intrigued by this and the fact it's a clown, which is something that people fear a lot. And, there's a lot of people have the fear of clowns, including myself. When I was a kid, my neighbours used to have them for their birthday parties, and I wouldn't go out in the garden. I was scared to go out in the garden at the time. So I thought I'd do some research myself and add my own piece to it and do my own video, and add my own theories to it, as there's some resemblances to a UFO sighting that happened 3 years later in Wales. This video will be looking at All Colours Sam, the Sandown clown in the Isle of Wight, UK. This account all started in May 1973. It started with a UFO sighting by the father of one of the children that saw the clown, as he was followed by a strange set of lights in his car. He stopped his car and even interacted with these strange lights. A few weeks later, the girl, who was only known as Faye, and the boy, who is unknown still to this day, playing near the golf course in Sandown, and they had a strange siren sound, a bit like an ambulance but a bit more metallic-y sounding. I went to take a look, and standing there was this 7-foot person standing there. It was like a clown in appearance. He had triangular eyes, square brown nose, yellow lips, and he had a green tunic on with white trousers and a pointy yellow hat on as well, with wooden antennas sticking out of his head. And he was carrying what looked like a book and a microphone, in which he was making the siren noise. He spoke through it, asking the children were they still there, but the children were kind of freaked out when he asked, because he was standing a few yards away, quite a good few yards away, but it felt like he was actually standing next to them at the time. He put the mic down and asked again in his own voice, which was sort of like a muffled sound, they said, and asked if they were still there. It sort of put them at ease. They started talking to him. They asked if he was a ghost, to which he replied, "No, not really, but I am in a sort of odd sort of way." He said he had other places around the country, more inland. He said he'd drunk the water from the stream after cleaning it, and he eats the berries. He took them to this metal shed that had it was a 2-story shed. It had wooden furniture, and there was berries on the table, which he would eat in a sort of odd way. He'd move them backward and forth between his eyes and into his mouth. The girl asked him his name, to which he replied, "All Colours Sam." The girl asked who he was, and he said, "You know." He said he was scared of people and appeared to be shy. And the next day, the father of one of the children went back and the shed was gone. The strange thing was, when the children had their encounter with this clown, or clown thing, or whatever it was, there was some men working on the telegraph pole, and they didn't seem to notice him. This 7-foot clown, it was kind of weird. It was also reported in the British UFO Research Association by the girl's father, who saw the UFO prior to the children's encounter. Several theories on what I think it was, or what people have said it could be as well. It's a robot, that You know, it's probably not possible. A human wearing a costume, which, to be honest, is quite disturbing. You know, an adult luring kids into a shed, you know, is a bit weird. And again, it could also be a prank as well. Those blokes doing a telegraph pole, could they have been part of a joke, and that's the reason why this never turned out, they never seen anything at the time? But it's still very disturbing if it is. But there was no harm done to any of the children. There's also the alien theory, obviously for the UFO being seen prior to the event. And there's also several similarities I've noticed myself in this case. And one that happened 3 years later, in 1977, 269 miles away in Broadhaven, Wales, as seen on Encounters on Netflix. See, there was 7-foot creature, a 7-foot entity was seen by Mark Morstan when he was a kid, and it was dressed like an astronaut. And then a few nights before his encounter, his aunt's car was followed by a set of lights as well, just like the father. And there was also the UFO seen by the school. Could these all be linked in a very, you know, in the same sort of way? You know, with a tall, 7-foot tall entity turning up. It's a very intriguing case. There's been no sightings since of All Colours Sam. I mean, one of the theories I think could be as well is also a sort of interdimensional entity. You know, so when he's sort of like a ghost, which is very strange, you know. And he said that he had different places. So could the Broadhaven thing be either, you know, where else he's actually based at, or is there other? He said there's also other entities like him out there on this planet. So it makes you wonder whether what happened in Broadhaven is actually linked, and maybe there are some sort of interdimensional being. Thank you for watching.
Whoever you are, whatever you are, you have been spotted.